All right, everyone. It's about 9 o'clock, so it's almost time to get started. And today we're going to be learning step by step how to thrive after every single time that you sit for a section of the CPA exam. So as you know, today is a big score release day, and let me just check the volume real quick. All right, we're good to go. So, score release days are my absolute favorite days because one, I get to interact with my students and mentees as they share their success stories, but also, the folks who don't pass, it's also an opportunity to help them learn from their mistakes, help them. And oh man, everything just went black for a second. It's a really fun day. And I've got a premium mentorship course called Ultimate CPA Exam Guide, and people were already sharing their success stories in there. And it's just a whole lot of fun. Like, it's a big party. But then there's also the people who have failed, and we're there to help pick them up. And really, as a CPA exam mentor and somebody who failed the CPA exam 7 times, I completely understand what you're going through if you are one of the unlucky ones, or well, actually the majority of CPA candidates who do fail a section of the CPA exam. So that's why I'm doing today's training. So let's go ahead and dive in. So I've got a little agenda here, and really I want to kind of give you the game plan that I give my mentees that I recommend that they follow step by step after they sit for the exam. So you go to the Prometric Center, take your exam, you walk out, and you just, you feel like an avalanche just hit you, right? So as you're walking out, just take it all in, relax, do something enjoyable, take the rest of the day. Hopefully you don't have to go back to work, but if you have to do that, then go ahead and do that. But just figure out, just go about your day and try to forget that you even sat for the exam. Definitely do something fun in the evening, go out with friends, family, whatever it might be. So then the next day, it's another recoup day, right? So, you just sat for an exam, you had this enormous amount of information inside your head, and, you need to give your brain some time to relax. Now, what's going to be going through your head during this time is you're going to be feeling like, you're going to start questioning everything, and it will drive you insane. So your number one goal in those first 48 hours are to just remember that the AICPA, they write their exams, and the whole exam itself is actually dynamic. So it's really designed to mess with your head. So the moment you assume that you fail, you're going to be in massive trouble, because you're going to go into your next section just assuming that you failed, and you're not going to be able to stay focused, okay? And so if you go in with the idea that, oh, that wasn't so bad, that's also bad, okay? Because then you're going to get overconfident, and then you'll be like, well, maybe I studied too hard, and it really wasn't that bad. So the reason why both of these mentalities are dangerous is because the CPA exam is dynamic, right? So you take the first testlet, and depending on how you do on those multiple choice questions, it either, if you did really well, then they're going to give you even harder questions. But if you did really poorly, then they're going to give you easy questions. And the problem is you don't know, as you're taking the exam, what is really happening. So really trying to second guess what the test creators have done is just a waste of your time. So think of it this way. So that, I hear it all the time that people consider the CPA exam a marathon, and that's completely false, because a marathon is just one race, right? But the CPA exam is 4 individual sections. So think of it like 4 100-meter dashes. So you've done your first dash, completely forget that even happened. It's time to prepare for the next dash. You take that one, completely forget what's happened around you, do that dash, move on to the next one and train for that one. So when you think of the CPA exam as one complete test, then you're going to, your mentality is going to be all screwed up. But if you can keep it compartmentalized in between each section, then you're going to be able to stay focused on the task that's right in front of you. So hopefully that makes sense, and is going to help you guys the next time that you sit for an exam. Now, the hardest time of any CPA candidate is the wait time. So yes, you're going to have a couple weeks, and thankfully the AICPA is finally back to the normal, releasing scores every month, and then there's the blackout month, and then the 2 months in a row, and so forth. So it's a little bit less wait time now, which is great. And during that time, you need to forget that you sat for that first exam and then go dive face first, studying for your next exam, and just treat it again like an isolated incident. Now, what happens when the score release happens, right? So let me pop in the next little crawler here. So what do you do if you fail? So you're head first studying for your next section. You had completely forgotten that you'd even taken that exam, right? And then you find out that you fail, because it's impossible not to check your scores, right? So, the first thing is that accountants, they're not designed for failure. So if you're like me, in college, I was an A and B student. The thought of even getting a C, it was not the end of the world, but it ruined my day, right? So the idea of failing the CPA exam, and I actually failed all 4 sections in a row, which I had never done academically, and it absolutely destroyed me. So it's hard to describe, I guess. The thought of failure never even occurred to me. So when I talk to brand new CPA candidates, and then I show them the pass rates, and when you average the pass rates out over your chances of failing at least one section, it's about 80%. So those, and that's by design, by the way. So they want you to fail because they want to see how the ICPA wants to see how you react to it. And, it's really just training you for busy season in public accounting and so forth. That's what they're trying to recreate. So they want to push you to your limits. So, when you fail, and hey, good evening, Joe, how's it going? If you do fail, there's really, and this is something that I teach in my premium course. And if you want to learn more about that, you can head to cpaexammentor.com after this is all said and done. But something that I teach in that premium course is called the 9-step failure recovery catapult. So I don't know if you can really see that. It's kind of a mess. So basically, it's a 2-phase process. And the first step, of course, is mentally recovering, right? And so you got to beat depression, panic, frustration, because you will, you're going to call, and the worst thing you can do is say, oh, I'm dumb, because if you've completed the education requirements to take the CPA exam, that means you're not dumb. And, it's just a silly exam, right? And so the first step is just mentally recovering. So understanding that, yes, failure just happened to me. It's not the end of the world, and you can get over this. And then, so the next step is to actually take a look at what happened and kind of recount everything, and then go in and identify the weaknesses and fix it. So, and really, I break it down into 9 different steps, and I don't really have time to go into each step here. But again, cpaexammentor.com will give you a good idea of what it's all about. But let's see here. So, with mental recovery, it's really about understanding that failure is by design. You need to improve how you study the next time around. And no matter what your score is, it's important that you understand that you have a decent understanding of that section. So a big rookie mistake that I see a lot of people making is that they fail a section, and then they're already signed up for 2 or 3 or 4 sections ahead, and then they procrastinate on retaking. And so my best advice for you is, if you're in a situation where you have failed, you want to, you're currently studying for a section, so take that one. And then almost immediately after you have sat for that section you're currently studying for, retake this section that you failed, because the longer you take, the more information you're going to forget. So when I failed, so basically I locked myself into taking all 4 sections in a row, because failure wasn't even an option. It just wasn't going to happen for me, because I was a star student, whatever. I made a terrible decision. So when I failed my first one, I was locked into sitting for the next 3. And then, so I was already mentally messed up. So then I failed the second one, and then I was really mentally messed up. And instead of just biting the bullet and, retaking the 2 sections I had failed, I went ahead and sat for 3 and 4 and failed both of those. So basically I was out 6 months of my life and $1,000. So, it's really important that you understand that you should sign up for only 1 or 2 sections at a time. And then, you want to maximize that time that you've put into studying for the section that you did fail. So hopefully that makes sense. And shoot me a message in the comment section if that doesn't, I can come back to it. And let's see here. Stephanie's got a question. Yeah. So yes. So Stephanie's in busy season right now and taking the exams at the same time. And I actually have a blog post, Stephanie. It's called the 17 tips for studying for the CPA exam during busy season. You might want to check that one out. So definitely check that one out. Let's see here. So looking at the agenda here. So again, I go over a lot more of the overarching methodology that I teach all my students at cpaexammentor.com. So you might want to check that out after we're done here and learn exactly what my study methodologies are and stuff like that for helping you recover from failure. Now, the next step here that I want to talk about is recovering from passing the CPA exam. And this is also something not many people think about. And it's pretty simple, really. So, you pass a section of the CPA exam. You're already in the middle of studying for your next one. And you get this jolt of, adrenaline because passing your first section of the CPA exam is pretty awesome, right? Now, the big mistake, and I teach my students an Ultimate CPA Exam Guide. It's called the 4-step ego check method. And so, you're going to get overconfident. You're going to want to become lazy because you look back at the last section that, and again, it's an isolated event, right? So you forgot how difficult and how hard you studied for that section that you just passed. And you're going to be very tempted to get lazy and to start taking shortcuts, to get overconfident, to think that, you know what you're doing already. And I've seen it so many different times, and it actually happens to me as well. So, I failed those 4 times, and then I actually lost my job. So that, talk about a good motivation to pass the CPA exam. I was unemployed for about 2 months, I think. And so basically I was full-time looking for a new job plus full-time studying for the CPA exam. So, I passed 2 sections while I was unemployed. And yes, I did have a ton of free time. So that certainly helped me figure out all of these study methods that I now teach. And I'm so glad that honestly I did lose my first job and this was back during the recession. So like 25% of my firm was cut just like that after busy season. So, at the time it was an unfortunate event. But looking back at it, it was really a blessing in disguise because it gave me the time that I needed so that I wasn't like Stephanie and trying to figure all this out during busy season, which I was trying to do and failing miserably. So I figured out how to pass while I was unemployed, but then I started working full time. And then I also met my wife while I was unemployed. And so, I had all these different things and different distractions, and I had just aced 2 sections of the CPA exam. So I was very confident that I could just sit for the CPA exam, no problem, just only studying for a few hours a day. And I went back to those lazy study methods that had caused me to fail in the first place. And I ended up failing twice in a row, I believe. And then I had to figure out how to work while working full time, how to pass the CPA exam. And that was a whole nother learning experience and something that I share with my students at cpaexammentor.com. And so, let's see. And I forgot where I was going with that. So, let's see here. So, yeah, holy cow, I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see here. So Christian, he's saying excited and nervous at the same time. He's got FAR going in April. Well, good luck, Christian. And I definitely recommend starting with FAR. That's a good choice. So, congrats on that. And, let's see here. Okay, so just looking at my agenda. So yeah, and feel free to shoot comments into the comment section, guys, if you guys have questions or anything you want me to cover. And let's see here. All right, so my next sheet of paper here, and this is really what basically I have a masterclass set up on cpaexammentor.com that goes over all of this. But basically what I teach in my course, Ultimate CPA Exam Guide. I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but basically there's it's the three resources that you need to maximize in order to pass a CPA exam. So the first one is time. Second is your CPA review course. And then the third, of course, is going to be your mentor. So, you know, and the mentor, that's actually something that I never really considered when I was studying for the CPA exam. I knew I would need some time, and I knew I was going to need a CPA review course, but I just had this, I don't know, I guess overconfidence that I could figure it all out on my own. And so that, you know, and that's fine. You can absolutely do that. But having a mentor in your corner will help you understand, you know, it gives you motivation. This person can help you with intensity. So a mentor needs to be somebody who knows how to pass the CPA exam and has been there and done that, and somebody who's even failed the CPA exam. So that's so that they can understand what you're going through. And a mentor will also hopefully be able to help you identify how you study. And so this is something that I do for my students. I help them understand their study personality. So everybody learns differently. Everybody consumes content in their CPA review course differently. And so, you know, that these are things that you need to be considering as you begin your journey to passing the CPA exam. It's like, what are the resources in my life that I can use to leverage and help save me time, help me study smarter, and really, you know, get you through this process faster, and so that you can avoid failure and the whole depression and the panic and all the shenanigans that go along with that. And so, you know, basically, and with time, and time is something that's, you know, so valuable. And honestly, as a CPA candidate, it's your most valuable resource. And so you really need to be focusing on, you know, what sacrifices are you going to make, because, you know, taking the CPA exam is unlike anything you will have ever done. You know, college compared to the CPA exam is a breeze. And so, you know, you have to make the right sacrifices. You have to set goals, and you have to stick to those goals. So when you keep pushing the CPA exam off another month, another week, another couple days here, you just don't keep that same fire under your butt to get this thing done. And then that's when it spreads out over 3 years. And then the next thing you know, you're a senior up for promotion, and you can't get promoted because you don't have your CPA exam and so forth. So it needs, you know, you need intensity. You need to eliminate distractions, and that you know, that's extremely difficult for me as somebody who, you know, has an attention span that lasts about 5 seconds, right? So you know, do everything you can to isolate yourself when you're studying, remove distractions, even, you know, taking your phone and just putting it on silent or leaving it in another room, and then, you know, studying for 45 minutes straight, and then you go check on it for a few minutes, or whatever works best for you. So these are things that you need to start considering now. And yeah, and Peter, I'm actually going to discuss review course here in a couple seconds here, but cool. Thanks. I appreciate that, Peter. So yeah, I try to be as honest as I can, and so forth. So, okay, so let's see. So yeah, so, oh, and then relationships. This is huge. Okay. So, when you're taking the CPA exam and you have non-accounting friends, people who, you know, they want to understand what you're going through, but without being in your shoes, it's impossible. So you need to find ways to get those people involved in your life. And for me, it was, you know, my dad, who actually, he was an Elijah Watt sales winner. So I had some big shoes to fill, and I failed miserably. But the cool thing is, I'm a CPA just as much as he is, even though I scrape by with 75s and 80s and who knows what else. So, so you really need to find the relationships in your life, the people you care about, your friends, and get them involved. So give them your study planner or something like that, and then let them know what your goals are for the week. And if you hit those goals, then you get to hang out with them guilt-free or something along those lines. So, and these are all things that I teach in my premium course, Ultimate CPA Exam Guide, which you can learn more at cpaexammentor.com. Time is so crucial. And so, as Peter was saying here, review courses are definitely a major factor. And what I do, and I have access to all of these courses just because I've partnered with a lot of them. And Phil Yeager and I are actually doing something really cool here that if you're on my email list, I shared recently, and we're actually bundling my mentorship program plus his course together. So it's really cool. And Peter, he actually just passed today, or he found out yesterday. So he's actually one of my students in there. So I appreciate him spending some time on here. So with your review course, so I mentioned this before, you really need to understand your study personality. So all these courses, they basically teach the same material, right? It's all based on the AI CPA blueprints, hopefully. They all get the same multiple choice questions from the AI CPA that they've released. And then some of them have some of their own author constructed questions and so forth. So they try to guess what they think would be on the CPA exam and so forth. So, so picking the right CPA review course is important. And a little pro tip here is, the price ranges, they vary wildly. So try to look at the CPA exam as an investment, right? So it's not an expense. So, normally I would never recommend going into debt, but if there's the course that matches your study personality the best, and it's a little bit out of your price range, I strongly urge you to make the plunge and invest in that course, because if you buy the wrong course and cheap out on one, then, you're going to end up failing. And then you're going to spend $250 every single time you have to retake that exam. So, find the right course, do your research. I didn't do my research. I bought the most expensive course out there because I assumed it was just going to do all the work for me. And it ended up being a complete disaster because I'm a self-studier. The review course I used was 100% focused on video lectures. So I would zone out, and I was wasted so much time, and it was a complete disaster. Now, it was all my fault for not doing the research, and I'm not going to blame the CPA review course, but if I had done my due diligence a little bit better, I think I would have maybe not failed so many times in a row. So another thing with CPA review courses is you really want to cut out all the busy work that you can. So again, this all boils down to your study personality. So for me, I was like slaving away, basically recreating the textbook, because that's how I studied in college. And when you're studying for the CPA exam, you don't have time to do stuff like that. So you really need to cut out as much busy work as you can, identify what works, and then double and triple and quadruple down on what is working, and just so that you can get through all the information as quickly as possible, but then also going back and reviewing everything and so forth. Let's see here. So I've got a question here. So that's a great question. So basically, Ultimate CPA Exam Guide, it works with any CPA review course that's out there. So like I said, I've partnered with all these courses. I just got Becker's books here a second ago. So they ship me all the books so that I can look at them. Then I do the video reviews and all that stuff. And then, of course, I have the software access as well. So basically, as a mentor, it's important for me to understand how each and every single CPA review course works so that I can provide the best recommendation for you based on your study personality, how I recommend that you use those courses. So I really like Yeager CPA Review because of how closely their course is tied to the AI CPA blueprints. I really like Phil as a person too, so we get along really well. So that's why I really pursued bundling my product with his. But if you're, say, using CPA Excel or Rogers, CPA Review or Becker, then yes, absolutely. I've got the study workflow videos for every major CPA Review course that will help you implement all these different study methods that I teach. And there's checklists and everything that are based on their particular content group outlines and so forth. So, yes, so everything that is covered in the Ultimate CPA Exam Guide method will work with any major CPA Review course. So, great question there. So let's see here. So moving on with CPA Review courses. And if you're on my email list, I sent out a big email about this. So I had a long discussion with Phil Yeager and he meets with the AI CPA test creators. I think it's once or twice a year. I can't remember exactly, but basically their mantra to him is that they tell him that each and every CPA candidate that he coaches or each of his customers, they must understand the AI CPA blueprints. And so if they want to pass the CPA exam. So on the little infographic that I have here, so I've got understand and review. So this boils down, again, to your study personality, how well you can cut out the busy work. And then you need to figure out what helps you understand the material the most. So the problem with the CPA exam today is that the AI CPA blueprints took over the basis of the CPA exam back in April of 2017. Okay, so there's the old content specification outlines. That's what the exam was based on before the blueprints. So all of the previously released questions that all the CPA review courses base their test banks and so forth on are based on the old CCOs and CSOs or SSOs. So the challenge now is that the AICPA hasn't released many questions that are based on the AICPA blueprints. So like document review simulations and those other types of simulations that have been released that are testing the higher order learning skills. So, when a CPA review course tells you that they have this adaptive test bank that's going to magically tell you what you understand and what you don't understand, that's not exactly true, because multiple choice questions don't truly test those higher order learning skills that simulations are now testing on the 2019 CPA exam. So the reality is that you need to be spending, you still need to take practice questions. Don't get me wrong. Multiple choice are still 50% of your score, but you need to be focusing more on using them as a tool for understanding where you are struggling. So you'll use your analytics to monitor that. And then, so as you're going, and here's why that's important. So if you are getting multiple choice questions wrong on a particular content group within a blueprint, then you know that you don't understand it. So that's just a tip-off point. So in order to get to the point where you do understand it, then you're going to need to focus time either in the video lectures, in the textbook, depending on your study personality type, and then answering some simulations, and also reading the blueprints. So, and I was talking to Phil, and he actually recommends that before you sit for any exam, that you actually take out the blueprints, print them all off, and read through them. And if anything doesn't make sense, then you need to go into his textbook or the video lectures of your CPA review course and so forth, and really focus on learning those particular areas, answering some questions just to make sure you do understand it, and then go from there. And Phil also has a really interesting product. It's called a cram course. So it's basically a video lecture that goes in depth along with the blueprint that you can utilize during the what's called final review study funnel phase of what I teach in my Ultimate CPA Exam Guide product. So so understanding, and then the final step here with your review course is to review. So something that I made a huge mistake on was that I would start with chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until the end, and then I'd go back and try to relearn everything. So basically what you want to be doing is constantly learning, but also constantly reviewing, because you might understand one thing today, but then if you don't look at it for 4 or 5 weeks, then you're probably going to forget it as well. So, and again, that's something that I've got an exact study method. They're called CPA Exam study loops that I teach in Ultimate CPA Exam Guide. And if you want to learn more about that, you can head to cpaexammentor.com. So, hey, it looks like we still have a few people on. Did anyone have any specific questions? Let me double check. So yeah, so if you head to cpaexammentor.com, it's 6 videos, 2,800 words. So it's a real masterclass to really teach you the entire framework that I have spent pretty much 5 years and probably, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars, a lot of my own money to put together. So it's a really cool resource to use, and it's completely free, no opt-in or anything like that. And if you go through it all and you want more help implementing everything as you're studying, basically you go to the bottom and there's an apply now button, and you click that and it'll take you to a little application. So I really like working with extremely motivated people. So people who are really interested in implementing what I have to teach and are willing to take instruction, constructive criticism, and so forth. So yeah, I'm a real no nonsense type of person. And if somebody tells me it's like, I don't want to do all that, then you're probably not a good fit. So that's what the application is for, to make sure that you're a good fit, somebody who's willing to work hard and will get the results that I'm getting my students. And as Peter will tell you, people in my group get real results. And there's a few videos that I've got on cpaexammentor.com that are we'll share some stories. So I recently actually got to meet one of my customers. She actually lived 45 minutes away from where I live. So we met up, and she has an amazing story. So she had actually failed the CPA exam 9 times, and she actually sent me the spreadsheet, and it's all in the video and stuff. And then she enrolled in my mentorship course, implemented like she was my perfect student. She went through all the training in a weekend, implemented everything. And then almost instantly, like a light bulb clicked, and she increased her scores by 15, or I think it was 11 to 21 points or something like that. And within 6 months, she had passed the CPA exam. So absolutely incredible stories. And it's really all about having a method to follow, because you can be the best college student out there, and if you don't have a method to follow, then you are pretty much dead in the water. And that's why the fail rates are so high on the CPA exam. Is it takes people off guard, and then they're not mentally prepared for failure, and it just totally throws them off. Let's see. I just saw a comment come through. Peter is asking, worth it to switch from Gleim to Jaeger with the blueprints? I would check with Gleim. I'm pretty sure that they base their course off the blueprints as well. So you might check out the cram course, though, from Jaeger. I think that's a pretty unique tool. But again, it depends on your study personality. So if you're somebody who prefers to learn from watching a video lecture, then definitely consider the cram course. But yeah, I would double check with Gleim. I'm fairly confident. I actually haven't gotten their 2019 textbooks yet. I need to do that, but I'm sure, I guarantee that they're up to date on the blueprints as well. But I think I can't remember if we discussed this, Peter, or not, but I'm not a big fan of adaptive learning. Like, I like having more control over everything. So if you are using Gleim's adaptive learning, I would recommend also using their manual quizzes as well, just as kind of a safety check to make sure that you're getting everything in that you need to. So, okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, you're welcome, Peter. Let's see. So anyone else have any questions? So, yeah, so I'm doing a big public launch here shortly for my coaching and so forth. So, but if you go to cpaexammentor.com, I do have an opportunity. Basically, if you submit your application and you're a good fit, we do have a 24-hour, about 48-hour window that we give people who take the time to fill out an application to enroll. So normally it's not open to the public, but we just because we like keeping our class size small and so forth. So, okay. Yeah. I agree, Peter. I mean, yeah, it's nice that it does save some time, but I personally, for me, when I use Gleim to actually pass the CPA, the last two parts of the CPA exam, and I use their manual analytics. So they weren't quite as advanced as they are today, but they were basically the same thing, and it definitely works. So that's my best advice. Let's see here. So anyone else have questions? Looks like there's about 8 people on here right now. So this has been a good group. I appreciate you hanging out with me instead of watching the State of the Union, because I definitely set that up this morning, and then I heard that Trump was talking at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I was like, oh, great. So yeah, well, I really hope this has been useful. I'm sure you guys will be seeing this video all over the place. I'm going to be, here we go. Hey, Tara. Let's see, access to unlimited. Yeah, so that's just, it's a free masterclass. So you can, all that training is just free. So the mentorship program, we actually recently raised our prices. So the mentorship program is $67 a month for 12 months. And then after that 12-month period, you still have unlimited access. All updates will be free. So as you know, the 2020 CPA exam rolls around, 2021, hopefully you're not taking it still then. But yeah, you'll have lifetime access to the course. And if you'd prefer to save a few bucks, we do have a $697 option, so $697, and we take PayPal, credit card, all that fun stuff. And so, oh, you purchased it previously. Okay. Shoot us an email at support@ultimatecpaexamguide.com. You should have been given a free upgrade to the most recent version, Tara, if you're still in there. Cool. Yeah, no problem, Vera. I hope I'm saying that right. Apologize. And so let's see. Zacher, I hope I'm saying that right as well. I apologize. Hopefully, did that answer your question? So yeah, so and then if you, also on that page, we do have the bundle with Phil Yeager and his team. So if you want to invest in Ultimate CPA Exam Guide and Yeager CPA Review as well, we have one of the best deals in the industry. So right now you can get all 4 sections of Yeager plus my mentorship for $19.99. And actually I should be throwing links in here. Let me see if I can do that. So yeah, and I can actually give you the link directly to Yeager's website for that, if because that option will always be available to you, so we don't close the close enrollment on that. So this link I'm sharing right now, let's see, my link did it even show up? All right, there we go. So that will take you to Yeager's website if you're interested in Yeager CPA Review plus Ultimate CPA Exam Guide. And then, of course, if you're interested in learning a bit more about what I do, you can go to cpaexammentor.com and then click the application button. And if you're on my email list, you should be getting emails about our public launch that will be going live very soon. Let's see here. Hold on. Lots of comments coming through. Okay, cool. Awesome. Perfect. Always nervous about pronouncing people's names correctly. Okay, so hey, if you guys liked this webinar, could you give me a thumbs up? I'm very interested in knowing how I'm doing and if these are cool. I'm actually going to be doing these pretty much every day. So I just opened up a free study group. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are already in there. But if you head over to cpaexamgroup.com, you can request access to that. So I'm going to be hanging out in there as well. And you can also like CPA Exam Guide on Facebook, and then you'll get notifications every time that I go live as well. So today was actually a lot of fun. This is the longest I've ever been live before. So it's been a fun experience. And so I hope it was really helpful. And I hope that I can see some of you guys on the inside with Ultimate CPA Exam Guide, because if you're motivated to pass the CPA exam, then it's definitely a good program. And it's something that I created knowing that I really wished I would have had something like that when I was studying for the CPA exam, because I just felt so alone, and I didn't have, I mean, I had mentors, but they were extremely busy people, and I didn't want to, partners at firms, senior managers, and so forth. And everyone was so busy. I hated asking them questions. So, I really want to create a resource that you can ask all those questions that you're just too nervous or too embarrassed to ask of your peers. And, most of you don't have dads who have passed the CPA exam probably. So, I was kind of lucky in that aspect because I could talk to him. But again, he passed the CPA exam back in, I think it was 84. So I was just a baby at the time. So the exam has changed a lot. So I'm in the CPA exam world every day, working with people. I have, finger on the pulse, so to speak. And so I just have a lot of fun with it every day. And days like today are the most rewarding for sure, because I just get to see people like Peter pass the CPA exam. And even if I just played a small role in it, it's just totally worth it. And I've got dozens of testimonials and success stories and stuff like that. And it's just a whole lot of fun. And so if you can fill out the application at cpaexammentor.com and check it out. And and I should mention that we also have a 30-day money back guarantee. So basically, if you enroll today, you've got 30 days to try the program out. And if you're like, oh man, this is too much, then just shoot us an email at support@ultimatecpaexamguide.com, and we'll take care and cancel and refund your account. It's not a big deal. We only want people who are, one, able to get helped by us. And no problem. I appreciate you being here. Cool. Yeah. And I'm actually going to be posting this on YouTube. That's a good reminder. I need to do that after I'm done here. I just have a lot of fun with it. And if you're somebody who's motivated and are at a loss about how to pass the CPA exam, I know that we can fix what's wrong just like that. And it's really all about just following a step-by-step method. And, I've coached, I think we have over 400 CPA candidates in the program right now. And, I've got over 10,000 some CPA candidates on my email list. So I've heard it all. I've heard all the stories. I've interacted with people all over the world. I've got students in every single continent except for Australia and the Antarctic. So I'm still really shooting for the Antarctic for this year. That's my goal for the year, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, but let's see here. So it's about 9:42. So I think if anyone else has any other questions, again, if you head over to cpaexamgroup.com, you can post any follow-up questions that you might have. If you know other CPA candidates, you could use someone like me. Maybe they found out they failed today. Feel free to shoot them over to cpaexamguide.com or ultimatecpaexamguide.com. I'd love to help them out as well. And I really appreciate you guys being here. This has actually been a lot of fun. I regret not doing this sooner. Like, this has definitely been pretty informative, and I've hoped that I've helped a few of you guys out. So, all right. Well, I'm going to sign off now. I'm kind of getting thirsty here. And I will, hopefully most of you are on my email list. If not, you should definitely get on there. And I will catch up with you later. So thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys.